They thought I was just the talented but quiet mechanic. They didn't know I owned Apex Drift through shell companies. Until I transferred ownership live during victory speech. The air in the paddock at dawn is different than at any other time. It holds a sacred quiet, a pregnant pause before the day's mechanical symphony begins. I'm Diesel Knox, and this is where I'm most alive. Before the generators cough to life, before the air wrenches start their staccato rhythm, before the scent of burnt methanol and hot rubber fills the space, this is when I can hear the soul of the place. My hands tell a story that my words never will. The permanent stain of grease deep in the cuticles, the network of fine scars from countless encounters with sharp metal edges, the calluses shaped precisely by the handles of my tools. They're a topographic map of my life. I spent 10 years as a lead engineer in NASCAR, working with budgets larger than the GDP of some small nations. But there was a soul-crushing sanitization to it all. The cars became corporate billboards, the engineering process governed by committees. I left at the peak of my career because I needed to feel metal again, to actually build rather than just optimize. What nobody knows is that my departure wasn't just a career change, it was an acquisition. 3 years ago, Apex Drift was a leaking ship. The previous owner, a venture capitalist who thought drifting was just cars doing donuts, had bled it dry. The team was days from being auctioned off, the tools, the intellectual property, even the team name itself. That's when I stepped in. Through a series of shell companies and a trust so labyrinthine even my lawyer gets headaches, I bought it. Every last nut, bolt and struggling dream. My sanctuary is the workshop, but that word doesn't do it justice. It's a cathedral of creation. The concrete floor is a Jackson Pollock of every fluid a car can leak. The walls are lined with tool chests, so meticulously organized I can find any socket blindfolded. This is where magic happens, where I take raw blocks of aluminum and transform them into intake manifolds that look like organic sculptures, where I fabricate custom suspension components that allow our drivers to dance on the knife's edge, between control and chaos. The championship-winning car, the Revenant, wasn't designed in some sterile CAD lab. It was born right here, from sketches on greasy napkins to fully realized mechanical beast. My fiancée, Jess, is the other half of this operation. Where I speak the language of metal and math, she speaks the language of people and money. As sponsorship manager, she moves through the corporate world with a grace I'll never possess. She can secure six-figure deals between the main course and dessert. She's the only person who knows the full truth about my ownership. Our relationship is the secret engine that powers Apex Drift, her brilliant, public-facing work making my private creations possible. The corrosion of our dream has a name and a face, Vance Russo, the team principal. He's a sculpture of modern ambition, all polished surfaces and hollow core. His suits are Italian, tailored so perfectly they look painted on. His watch costs more than our hauler. He was the frontman when I bought the team, and I kept him on because he's phenomenal at what he does, selling dreams to people with more money than sense. I'm watching him right now, holding court for a group of potential sponsors. He stands at what I've come to think of as a Russo-safe distance from the Revenant, close enough to claim ownership, far enough to avoid any actual grease. My design philosophy, he's saying, gesturing with a hand that has never known a callus, is about controlled aggression. Every line on this car serves a purpose, but does so with beauty. He's describing the fender flares I shaped with an English wheel, the splitter I molded from carbon fiber in a vacuum bag, the exhaust header I welded while suspended over a scorching engine block. I'm across the bay, elbow deep in the guts of our backup car, replacing a seized caliper. My coveralls are a history of every job I've done this week. Jess stands near Russo, a professional smile fixed in place as he drapes an arm around her shoulders, pulling her into his performance. And this brilliant woman, he says, his voice oozing false camaraderie, she handles the mundane reality of spreadsheets and contracts. Frees me up to focus on the art. He winks at the sponsors. Success is all about having the right people in the right roles. Later, when the paddock has quieted, I find a crumpled piece of paper on the floor of the mobile office. It's my pay stub. The performance bonus line is conspicuously empty, despite the 3 podium finishes I engineered this season. Next to it, on Russo's impeccably clean desk, is an expense report. A $5,000 dinner at the city's most exclusive steakhouse, listed as client acquisition. Jess had mentioned covering that tab from her personal account last month after Russo claimed the corporate card was compromised. The injustice isn't a single moment. It's the atmosphere we're breathing. It's in the way the junior mechanics quickly look away when Russo takes credit for my innovations in team meetings. It's the subtle, patronizing way Jess's sponsorship victories are reframed as the result of his strategic direction. It's the slow, simmering realization that the man whose paycheck I sign is systematically erasing me from my own creation, transforming me from the ghost in the machine to just another replaceable part in his narrative, the talented but ultimately disposable grease monkey. The season finale VIP party is a study in everything I left NASCAR to escape. It's held in a gleaming, air-conditioned event space that smells of perfume and money, a universe away from the sacred, oil-stained concrete of the paddock. I'm wearing a tuxedo that feels like a costume, the starch in the shirt collar scratching at my neck. Jess moves through the crowd with practiced ease, a diamond of competence in this sea of pretense. But I can see the subtle tension in her posture. The way her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. Vance Russo is holding court at the center of the room, a glass of champagne he didn't pay for, held aloft like a scepter. He spots us and cuts through the crowd with the unerring confidence of a shark, a trail of sycophants and hangers-on in his wake. "Jess, you look absolutely stunning tonight," he booms, his eyes sliding over me as if I were part of the decor. He leans in close, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that's deliberately loud enough for his entourage to hear. "You know, a woman of your talents and beauty, you really should consider upgrading. Time to ditch the wrench monkey." He pauses, letting the insult hang in the air before delivering the final blow with a smug grin. "Come on, date a real winner." The small circle around him erupts in nervous, sycophantic laughter. Jess's smile becomes a frozen rictus, her knuckles whitening around her clutch. My own hands, which can feel the difference of 1/1000th of an inch in piston clearance, curl into impotent fists at my sides. The heat of the humiliation is a physical wave, burning from my chest up to my face. But the true line in the sand, the moment that transforms simmering resentment into cold, focused action, comes hours later in Victory Lane. The Revenant, piloted by our immensely talented but politically oblivious driver, has just executed a perfect, smoke-shrouded run to clinch the championship. Confetti cannons erupt, raining colored paper over the shrieking crowd. Camera flashes pop like 1,000 tiny suns. Russo, of course, is the first to the car, pulling the driver into a theatrical embrace for the cameras before snatching the microphone from the stunned track interviewer. "What a season. What a team," he yells, his voice cracking with performative emotion. The crowd roars its approval. This victory, this championship, it's a testament to vision, to unwavering leadership in the face of adversity. He pauses, chest puffed out, playing to the crowd like a seasoned politician. "This win," he shouts, pointing a finger at his own chest. "This win is mine." The words hang in the smoke-filled air, a blatant declaration of ownership over my blood, my sweat, my sleepless nights, and the very code I wrote to make this machine breathe fire. He doesn't see me standing at the edge of the celebration, just another anonymous figure in the shadows. But that arrogant blindness is his final critical miscalculation. The shift inside me is absolute and irrevocable. The patient ghost in the machine is done hiding. It's time for the machine itself to speak, and its voice will be a roar that drowns out all his empty words. My strategic awakening isn't born of hot anger, but of cold, procedural clarity. While the team celebrates, slapping backs and spraying champagne, I slip away from the noise. The paddock is nearly empty. The only sounds the ticking of cooling metal and the distant roar of the after-party. I enter my sanctuary, the workshop, and lock the door behind me. The Revenant sits in the center of the bay, still glowing with heat, its tires bald and sticky, its bodywork smeared with rubber marks from its championship-clinching run. It looks like a weary warrior returned from battle. I don't touch it. I go straight to my ruggedized laptop, bolted to a workbench scarred with years of my labor. For 3 years I've been preparing for this moment. Not out of paranoia, but from an engineer's fundamental understanding that every system needs a failsafe. It was a lesson learned in NASCAR, where I saw brilliant work stolen and repackaged by slicker talkers. When I built Apex Drift from the ground up, I built in protections. Every single custom component on that championship car, from the billet aluminum steering knuckles that I machined on a CNC mill I personally refurbished, to the hollow titanium driveshaft that weighs less than a bag of sugar, to the entirely custom ECU housing I fabricated from a single block of magnesium, has my patent number laser etched into it. Not in a visible spot, but in places only someone who truly understands the machine would know to look. Inside the coolant passage of the turbo housing, on the back of the camshaft sprocket, deep within the throttle body, the CAD files, stored on an encrypted server that only responds to my biometric signature, have my initials DK hidden not as metadata, but as actual geometry within the digital model. They're embedded in the mesh of the chassis members, tiny imperfections in the surface that are invisible to the eye, but form my signature when highlighted. My most powerful weapon, however, is legal, not mechanical. I pull up the LLC operating agreement for Apex Drift. On page 47, clause 14b, is a passage I wrote myself, buried in so much legalese that even Russo's high-priced lawyers glossed over it. The beneficial owner reveal clause. It allows me, with a single cryptographically signed digital command, to transfer all public-facing ownership from the anonymous shell company to Knox Motorsports, effective immediately and irrevocably. The trigger is my personal confirmation, linked to a hardware key I keep on my keyring. My final preparation is multimedia. I access the paddock's central media server. The IT director, a brilliant kid named Leo, owes me a favor that can never be repaid. I personally rebuilt the drive array on his priceless, self-built gaming rig after a power surge fried it. I upload a short silent video file, a beautifully rendered slow-rotation 3D model of the Revenant's entire chassis assembly. Then I write a simple script that will play this file across every jumbotron and monitor in the facility on a specific trigger. The plan isn't to argue or plead my case, it's to demonstrate it with overwhelming, undeniable evidence. While Russo is bathing in a spotlight he didn't earn, I'm preparing to flip the main breaker on his entire fraudulent world. The satisfaction I feel is cold and precise, like a perfectly machined part sliding into its mating surface with zero tolerance. The coming reckoning won't be a debate. It will be a public audit, conducted not by accountants but by the unassailable truth of engineering and ownership. The victory celebration on the main podium has reached a fever pitch. Russo stands at the center of it all, drenched in the adulation he believes he deserves. He's holding a magnum of champagne like a trophy, preparing to spray the cheering crowd. The massive jumbotron is replaying the championship-winning run from every conceivable angle. I don't walk toward the stage. I move with purpose through the crowd, people parting unconsciously before me. I go to the Revenant, still parked at the edge of the infield where the driver left it. The engine is hot to the touch. I slide into the custom racing seat, the fit perfect, molded to my body long before the driver ever sat in it. I turn the key and the engine barks to life with a familiar aggressive snarl that vibrates through my bones. I don't race it. I drive it slowly, deliberately. A funeral procession for Russo's ego. The crowd, confused at first, parts to create a path. I guide the car right up to the base of the podium, the front tires gently bumping against the steps. The roar of the engine at idle is a stark mechanical contrast to the human noise around us. The crowd goes quiet, the confusion palpable. Russo stares down from his throne, his smile twisting into a mask of irritation. "Knox, what the hell do you think you're doing? Get that car back to the garage where it belongs." This is my moment. I kill the engine. The sudden silence is louder than the engine ever was. I open the door and step out, having shed the ridiculous tuxedo jacket and bow tie. I'm wearing my clean official team coveralls, the ones with diesel stitched in bold white letters over the heart. I don't even look at Russo. I look up at the media booth where Leo is waiting and give him a single sharp nod. On the massive jumbotron, the highlight reel vanishes. In its place, my uploaded video begins to play. The 3D model of the championship car rotates in stunning high definition. Then, one by one, sections of the model begin to glow. My initials, DK, light up within the structure of the tubular chassis. They appear on the custom control arms. They glow from the geometry of the differential housing. They're everywhere, a ghost in the machine made visible. A collective gasp, then a rising murmur of understanding runs through the crowd. Before the murmur can settle, a second graphic appears, live and fed directly from the state's business registry portal. It shows the corporate structure of Apex Drift LLC. In real time, the name of the anonymous holding company dissolves and is replaced by Knox Motorsports, the title of principal owner shifts decisively to Diesel Knox. The effective date listed is 3 years prior. The murmur becomes a roar of shock and realization. Russo's face undergoes a horrifying transformation. The smug confidence melts into confusion, then dawning horror, and finally sheer unadulterated panic. "This is a hack, a forgery," he screams, but his voice is a thin, reedy thing lost in the growing tumult. "Someone stop this! Security!" He's still clutching the champagne bottle. In his frantic state, his grip tightens convulsively. He fumbles with the cork, his hands shaking uncontrollably. The bottle, already shaken from the celebration and now subjected to his violent, nervous manipulation, can't contain the pressure. It doesn't pop with celebration. It explodes with catastrophic failure. The thick glass shatters in his grip. The entire contents of the bottle, the expensive champagne he chose specifically for its branding, erupts upward in a violent geyser. It soaks his face, stinging his eyes, drenches his custom Zegna suit, and streams in dark, foamy rivers down his legs. The liquid creates an unmistakable expanding stain down the front of his pristine white firesuit, a humiliating Rorschach test of his own panic. The crowd sees it all. The undeniable proof of my authorship on the screen, the legal transfer of power, and now the physical, visceral manifestation of his complete and utter unraveling. Someone in the front row, a grizzled crew member from a rival team who's always seen through Russo's act, starts a chant. "Mi-chan-e, mi-chan-ik." It's picked up by a dozen, then 100. Then the entire crowd becomes a thunderous, jeering chorus, the word echoing across the speedway. Security, now employed by Knox Motorsports, doesn't hesitate. 2 large professional men I personally hired for their discretion and loyalty swiftly and firmly escort a dripping, sputtering, and utterly broken Vance Russo off the podium. They guide him through the crowd that was just cheering him, past the reporters now shoving microphones in his face, and out of the venue gates. The catharsis is not merely in his fall from grace, but in the roaring collective affirmation from the very people whose work he had claimed as his own. The aftermath is clean, swift, and satisfying. The team, initially stunned into silence, quickly rallies. The drivers, the mechanics, the fabricators, they all knew. They'd seen me working through the nights, heard my explanations of complex physics in the simple language of mechanics, felt the difference my hands made on the cars. My ownership isn't a shock. It's a confirmation. The respect in their eyes is no longer just for my skill, but for my patience and my power. As the crowd begins to disperse, the true weight of the victory settles not on the podium, but in the quiet space around the Revenant. Jess walks up to me. There are tears streaming down her face, but they're tears of fierce pride and long-awaited vindication. She doesn't say a word. She just takes my greasy, scarred hand in her perfectly manicured one, laces our fingers together, and leads me up onto the now empty podium. The confetti of our shared victory crunches under our feet like fallen leaves, and then in front of the scattered, remaining fans, our entire team and the world, she drops to one knee on the champagne and confetti-streaked stage. "Diesel Knox," she says, her voice clear and strong, carrying in the sudden hush. "You built this team from scrap metal and a dream. You built our future with these hands." She holds up our joined hands. "You never asked for credit. You never demanded the spotlight. You just built and loved and trusted. Now let's make it official. Loved and trusted. Now let's make it official." She pulls a small, custom-made ring box from her pocket. It's not velvet. It's crafted from a polished section of a titanium turbo housing, milled to a perfect satin finish rectangle. It's engraved with the same intricate pattern as the Revenant's custom camshaft. She opens it. Inside sits a simple, stunning band of brushed tungsten, inlaid with a thin stripe of raw, unpolished carbon fiber, I pull her to her feet and kiss her, the taste of champagne, exhaust fumes, and absolute victory in the air. Yes, I say, my voice rough with emotion. 1,000 times yes. The lesson is engraved on every part I've ever machined, in every line of code I've ever written. True power isn't about who holds the microphone or wears the most expensive suit. It's about who holds the blueprints. It's about who understands the fundamental truth that everything, every company, every relationship, every championship is built from the ground up, piece by piece, with integrity and skill. You can put your name on the door, but if you don't understand the engine, you're just a passenger in a vehicle you'll never truly control. Some men need to rev their engines loudly to feel powerful. I don't need to rev mine. I built it, I own it, and now everyone knows. If you are the quiet one, the one they mistake for the help, the one whose hands are dirty while they keep theirs clean, remember this. Your work is your voice. Your craft is your power. Your integrity is your currency. Let them talk. Let them preen. Let them take the credit. While they're polishing their image, you're building the foundation of their downfall. If you believe that real strength is measured in skill and silent accomplishment, not slick talk and empty suits, then like, share, and subscribe to The Revenge Stories. The loudest roar doesn't come from the exhaust. It comes from the engine they never saw coming.